Buzzardon Brickworks, and we are going to explain the process of transportation of clay, dangers, and some other things basically. That's what they got.
So if you see over here, there is a wagon, and this is where they transported the clay. You can see the clay's in here, and they transported the wagon on railways. And if you go to clay 2, you can see where and how they transported it. So if you see this, the wagon is moved up, and those green doors are sent in there to be worked. And they're sent along the cable line from there. Now we've got the next room. So for the thing that you saw in the other room, just up there are the green doors.
And there's a key factor here. You had to make sure the fossils were out, otherwise the clay would it would explode, which obviously is a safety hazard. So all the workers would have removed the fossils.
Money.
Oh yeah, that as well.
And talking about safety hazards, if you look up there, some of the miners, or the workers, mind your heads up there.
Please pay no attention to the screen so nobody will.
So this is the end of now. Work with the clay. Now here's a very funny if you see here, this machine is called the fat lid. And if you see that bulb over there, you open it and you put oil. And if you see up there, the oil will explode up. So this is where, I forgot. This is where, this is the engine. Yeah. And as you say, if you do it wrong, it will go up there and you can see a splatter mark on the roof. So, as you can see, there's quite a few things on here. So it would take a while of training to get used to it. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so this is a quick bit on how steam engines work. I like to turn it on. Okay, so the air is, so when the coal is heated and burned rather, it releases like steam. Wait, no, when water is burned, like boiled, it releases steam, which then gets funneled into this tiny space. The water, the air, the steam, obviously, so it needs to have all the space it needs. So they're like, we've got to get out of here. So it pushes that along and it powers the steam train. So I think, like that.
Why don't we turn it on to show them one more time?
No, the same applies to cannons. The black powder explosion generates a lot of air, and it's the same factors. The air needs to get out, so it pushes the cannonball forwards.
And as you can see over here, these were the old ones that were used. And if you see over here, these are the modern ones. Okay, next one.
Hello.
those would be cut and would be sent over there to the vet.
Anyway, over here, so these are like some of the sports awards that the men won TM1. So there's, we have a little look here, there's basically the awards they won. So there's very few rugby, soccer, golf and stuff like that. And over here, this is what the average worker's like kitchen area would be. So you have like a few cheap carts, kettles, a glass of whiskey or whatever they drink. And then you have like pig biscuits, a lantern, whatever this is, and like a casket so they could carry all around their coffee and whatnot. So this is the standard kitchen. We had all these colours and whatnot to store the food.
Should we go to the next room?
Yep.
So over here is the drying sheds. This is where bricks would be placed, like would be stacked like there's one over there, and they would be brought by boys up to ages 13 to 15, and would be carried here to dry out. This is probably one of the first jobs you would do if you started here. And up there, it would take about 15 days. Yeah, 10 days, 15 days.
So down here it would be 10 days, and up there it would be 15 days. And another fun fact, so this is a bit of a gross outer. So it's quite hard work for the boys, obviously, because they're only 13 and 15. So, and they got sweaty. Well, there's two fun facts. So they got all sweaty and whatnot. So by the time that shift was over, they could take off their socks and visibly like squeeze them, and all the sweat would come out. I told you it was gross. Then another one is also to do with sweat. So the workers did not like pink like sheets. So what they would do, they bought some white sheets. But the problem is with all the red dust and them sweating, when they were like tossing and turning and sleeping, please stop paying attention to the terrifying screams. So and they would toss and turn in one, and because of the sweat, they would become like the sheets would turn pink again. So there's no point. Embarrassing.
Also, this is a horrible job because it's snowing. This would be so hot, and that's why the boys got so sweaty. Let's move on. So now we're heading to the kilns.
Wrong room.
Well, this is some of the workers' houses environment.
So this is an adaptation, obviously, because my British room. So this is a standard 1900 house from about 1900. So you have a basic kitchen with like a furnace over there. They have a kitchen table, some sinks, and just it does a little bit better. Let's be real.
Also over here we got some old scooters. And if you're wondering what these things are, they're for shaping shoes, which I didn't know until I got told today.
Then this is the standard living room.
You can see a sewing, very old sewing machine in the corner.
Piano, dog, clock, a nice fire. Then over here is an evolution, and this is around circa 1970. So it looks worse. It just looks cheap and everything. So you obviously had the sink, your washing machine, some cupboard,
Different colours and everything.
yeah, small kitchen table, loads of closets.
If you move this way, you can see 1970s room.
And this is probably where your parents grew up. So you have some Lego down there,
Old
like
Barbies.
TV, like a nice knitting chair, some...
You see over there, it's a really old camera that you can tell because it looks very old. And there's a pipe on the table. So.
And there's a magazine rack, and here's a fun little reference to the giant shoe. And over here we have
These were what soldiers would have worn in the war.
and what land girls would have worn.
And probably women's. So if we head this way, here we can see the dining room.
Here, this way. So this way is the propaganda. Let's say propaganda was made so Britain could win the war. So like Britain needs you.
So
Join your country's army. The propaganda to make sure people like reserved food and like inviting girls to join the land army.
people use propagandas because the British Army needed more men or women to fight in the war because people kept on getting injured. So they wanted young men up to 18, sometimes 16. Some kids actually faked their age, and they ended up dying very sadly. And so they wanted men to join the army to help and to win this war. They would heat it all up. And you can tell those lots of bricks because of the red dust. And okay, so there wasn't much to this. They just burned and cooked the brick dust there. There's a fireplace out here as well.
So in the end, there's about, I think, 24 kilns. No, 12 kilns. 6 on each side. So 6 here, 6 in that. So sadly, we cannot go into it.
So if we come round
There is a kiln.
these are all lots of machines that they use to shape and do stuff. Make the brick.
That is the heater.
There's the other heaters, the other mills over there. They have many of them because they wanted to make lots of them at a time. Huh? What's upstairs now? And did you know that this company made 13 million bricks a year? And as you can see, 89%,
Which is the years it was originally built.
fun fact, every password, every code in
No.
this building is that are those numbers. Here are the museum displays, where it shows you very quickly with taking it and taking it to a port. Had bricks in it, and then you would have gone to a port and sold bricks. And here you could see different types of bricks they made. And made those square bricks like they use in houses. They made the ones that you put on ceilings, roofs, and chimneys, and
They made most of the bricks.
they made
And this is official names for them. So we had this, the pub fronts, the bullnose,
Toilet
bricks, mullions, and coopings.
this one and maybe those two probably look quite modern to you. Maybe that one. So these were all of these were made in this company. Also they made all these other things. They could make bridges with this.
And this type of bridge was invented by the famous Victorian inventor Isambard Kingdom Brunel. So the strategy was
You place them all until you build it up, and then you'd read this, and because all the pressure is in the middle, is pushing the other two sides to stay all together. So all these men were clever, and without bricks, houses would have been made of poo and hay, and they weren't that good.
As you can tell by the fire of
good
London.
thing is that they used so bricks were introduced by the Romans in Britain, and so they decided, but they didn't like them, so they decided to go back to hay and poo. But then they noticed that the bricks were fire resistant, and the hay and poo wasn't, because hay is flammable. So they decided to go to bricks, which is actually a good choice. Otherwise, right now, our houses would smell like cow poo. So now, you see, the questions all going to the middle, if you done it right. And
Maybe not.
yeah, I think we have to answer questions.
Maybe we haven't done it right.
You have to put as much pressure as you can and as many as you can fit.
And also they had to make it do right because this would happen if it didn't go right.
So
there we
you see most of the pressure's gone to the middle. And if you don't push it right or fast enough, it will just collapse like that just happened. Also here you can see these other bricks are in it. It's quite amazing how much they could do, and it was in 1914 that they did
Imagine
this.
how much work they would have to put into, like, your house. There would have to be hundreds of them.
And also, just imagine nowadays we have machines making them. And now
They had to do it all
by hand. They had to dig by hand. Right now we have machines that do it. These men were quite clever.
They were probably one of the cleverest people in the time.
And also strongest because they had to carry, like the boys, they had to carry lots of wagons.
And bricks were very important for stuff like factory building, and without them the Industrial Revolution would never have happened. And then we wouldn't have trains, steamboats, stuff like that. Stuff we take for granted today would not have happened if bricks weren't a thing.
Bricks are quite important for us. So this place was also, this company was also affected by World War I because many of the men that worked in this place had to go to join the army. So the factory was left, and on Tuesday, April 1915, the factory reopened and women started actually working, which is quite a relief because women didn't have as much respect as they do now, because they thought as they have to stay home, do the cooking, clean the house, look after the children. So now they actually get a job and feel like they've got a bit more freedom. So they were a big part, otherwise the company
I
wouldn't
think
be
there's
there.
some pictures of different types down here.
Also here are some workers that are working. You see this young boy working, and many workers. You can tell they work really hard to build these and to build houses. It's just so fascinating how they do this.
And sadly, most of the workers probably would die of fatal accidents because your standard Victorian factory, whether it's bricks to steel, was not built for worker safety because there wasn't as many laws protected, like sanitation, like
The environment.
environment, working age as well. That was a key factor. So yeah, these factories were not built for comfort. They were built just production and money, profit.
Also, you
Get some bucks.
Also, you can see how dangerous it is as they're using all these materials. They've got a saw, they've got knives, and lots of things that nowadays we would have like all the equipment to protect our eyes and everything. They wouldn't have it. They, because of the sheds, the drying shed, it was so warm that they used rubber to make gloves because they didn't have special gloves and special suits as that we do nowadays.
Before they just used their hands. Imagine how burnt they would be.
they could, and also if you didn't do stuff right, you can even lose an arm or something like that, which is very scary. I wouldn't have done this job in those days.
Imagine this ad. Come work at Buzzard Brickworks. You might lose an arm or just die. Come to work at Buzzard Brickworks. Hashtag you will die.
And so now our bricks are made safer and much more protecting the environment, protecting us, protecting what we believe in, and also like our houses and us. They give us shelter and everything. So otherwise we'll be using poo again, like I said, which is quite disgusting.
Yeah. The house made out of poo. So, okay, that seems to be the conclusion of our tour of Buzzard Brickworks. We hope you have enjoyed this. Make sure to
visit.
Yeah, come and visit. Come and visit. You can see all this yourself instead of watching, just mindlessly watching it on your computer. Thanks for watching. Bye.